Students, today we will discuss about second lesson of the book Flamingo, Lost Spring, Stories of Stolen Childhood, written by Anise Jung. But before taking up this lesson, let's know something about the author. Anise Jung. She was born in Rourkela. She received her education in Hyderabad and in the United States of America. She has been an editor and columnist for major newspapers in India and abroad and has authored several books. The lesson that we are going to do today is an excerpt from her book titled Lost Spring Stories of Stolen Childhood. Let's discuss briefly about the lesson. The author in this lesson unveils the utter destitution of the Jagbeekars of Simapuri and the Bengal makers of Firozabad. This present lesson is a two-in-one story of throttled dreams and crushed ambitions. Through this lesson, she expresses her concern over the exploitation of children in hazardous jobs like bangle making and rag picking, grinding poverty, troublesome poverty, and thoughtless tradition. These two things result in the loss of childlike innocence, education, and play. As a consequence, they have to work. Which work? Back-breaking hard work. In dismal working condition, in harsh working conditions, and they have to accept the state of poverty and the exploitation as their karma or destiny. There is a dire need to provide these poverty stricken people, particularly these children, a life of dignity, respect, and opportunities to dare, dream, and do. The present lesson comprises of two parts. First, sometimes I find a rupee in the garbage. Second, I want to drive a car. And in today's video, we will discuss first part. The main characters of the both parts are mentioned as in first part the main character is Sahib Alam, who is a rag picker, and in second part, that is I want to drive a car, the main character is Mukesh, who is a bangle maker. That can be seen in the slide also. Let's have a look at the title. Low Spring is a well chosen title. Spring is a symbol of joy, happiness, beauty, and hope. Being full of color, fragrance, and freshness, it is also a season of renewal and growth. Childhood can be called the spring of a man's life as it marks the beginning of human life and has a tremendous scope for growth. The title of the lesson, Lost Spring, is a metaphor used for loss of childhood of millions of child laborers in India. The main two protagonists of the lesson, Saibi Alam and Mukesh, they lose their spring, their childhood. Why? Because they have to carry the burden of their family. They have to carry the burden of the poverty and illiteracy. Thus, the title brings out how child laborers are deprived of the blessings of childhood. Now, let's discuss the lesson with the help of the main points. When this story begins, we see that the author meets a rag picker named Sahib, and he belongs to a refugee family who has come from Bangladesh. Then the author questions him about his profession of rag picking and advises him to go to school. But that rag picker Sahib, he says that there is no school in his neighborhood. The author raises Sahib's hope of receiving education by promising to open a school in his neighborhood, but inside her heart she feels embarrassed at making a fake or hollow promise that she knows she will never be able to accomplish. Sahib e Alam. This is the full name of the rag picker, Sahib, which means Lord of the Universe. But he himself doesn't know what it means. Ironically, unlike his name, he is deprived of even the basic amenities, necessities of his life and scrounges street with other rag picker boys. These rag picker boys, including him, they remain barefoot and remaining barefoot it reflects their extreme state of poverty. The author observes that being barefoot has been an old tradition in poverty stricken India. Then, this scene of barefoot boys, it reminded her of a priest's barefoot son in town of Udupi 30 years ago. And the story of this priest's barefoot son was narrated to the author by some man, and that boy he had an ardent desire to have his own pair of shoes, and for the same he prays to God that you could see in the slide also. And 30 years later, when the same person who was narrated the story to the author, he visited the same place, Udupi again. He saw some another boy of some another priest in full school dress with shoes. It means after 30 years, the priests of that area were able to afford the shoes for their sons. But the author realizes that even after the 30 years, these rag pickers are still shoeless. Here we will read about rag pickers abode, rag pickers living place, that is Simapuri. Most of these rag pickers they live in Simapuri. It is a place at the outskirts, at the border of Delhi, but there is no sign of any development and progress here. The houses, for the name of the houses, they have the structures of mud, tin, and tarpaulin with no sewage, drainage, or running water. But the only boon that they have, that is valid ration card, which enables them to get grain and to cast vote, which indicates the politician's personal motive, personal purpose to get votes, and for this purpose, only for this purpose, they have arranged ration cards for these poor people. These people, they are happy to live in a strange land which provides food and grain rather than in their motherland, Bangladesh, that is without grain, that is not where they are not able to get the grain to feed their children. And in Simapuri, the only means for survival is rag picking. Through the years, this rag picking has acquired the status of a fine art. Garbage to them is gold. Sometimes a child can find a silver coin in a heap of garbage. There is always hope of finding more. Garbage is wrapped in wonder for children, and for elders, it is a means of survival. But Sahib, he has some unique or different desires or wishes. He is different from others. He wishes to enjoy the pleasures of childhood. He wishes to play tennis. He wishes to wear tennis shoes. One morning, the narrator sees Sahib standing by the fenced gate of a club that we can see in the slide also. Sahib is also wearing tennis shoes. They are discarded shoes of some rich boy, and that boy refused to wear them because of a hole in one of them. For Sahib, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. Now he is happy to wear even the shoes with a hole. Now Sahib works in tea stall and he earns rupees 800 per month and all meals. And one day he encounters Author while fetching milk in a tin container for tea stall owner. He appears burdened and forlorn. He has lost his freedom. He is no more a free bird and a master of his own self. That tin container which he was having at that time, it seems heavier than the plastic bag that he used to carry on his shoulder. Why? Because that plastic bag was his, and this container belongs to the shop owner. Now, Sahib is no longer his own master. Now, he had to work as per the instructions of his master, that is the tea stall owner. He has lost his carefree look, or we can say he has lost his childhood, his innocence, his right to education, his right to play. Now, for the better understanding of this lesson, the difficult words used there are mentioned for your convenience. So, student, this is all about the first part of the lesson. We will read or discuss the second part in next video. Thank you.